Hi everybody, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Danielle, better known as Danielle, the Happy Medium in the industry, and I'm going to be walking you through a topic that was asked of me to be discussed by students, excuse me, and also viewers about what is awareness in mediumship. So, what is awareness in mediumship? So, awareness is basically an understanding of a connection between a touch of intelligence and a touch of imagination. Awareness allows you to bring into focus an element of the spirit world, but it also has elements of what we call the imagination or the psychic parameter. Now, what does it mean? What do I mean by this? So I've done lots and lots of videos on this, and I've talked about this different topics of what's the difference between imagination and psychic images versus what is, mediumistic images, to what is a clairsentient feeling, psychic or image or imagination versus obviously the spiritual world. And one of the things that awareness does is helps us to build what I call a concrete basis for anything to stick your mediumship on top of. And it's what I've talked about for a long, long time: personal development, then an element of us versus the spirit world, and then a full blown spirit world connection. And in order to understand all of these things, we have to have an understanding of our energy. We have to have a good understanding of us as individuals, and also have a good understanding of the spirit world and what it's like to actually be over on the spirit world, and understand the different techniques and mechanics that they use or you use in order to connect. Now, I did a video on Tuesday about intention, and intention is an important part of your development, as good as important as all of this, because what intention does is helps. So when we first start with an awareness of spirit, some of it's going to be a lot of imagination. It's going to be a lot of the psychic energy. Now, that's not actually the spirit world. That's just you starting to read energy. A prime example of this is Reiki. Reiki is a prime example of that. There's an awareness of energy. There's an understanding that energy is different to our energy, and therefore we can feel, understand, and get images and pictures and things and read that energy. That's the best way to put it. Now, sometimes with that parameter, the imagination can also play in, and we can overextend that particular area. What happens is, once we have a good understanding of what's our energy versus somebody else's energy, not intelligence, we then should start and broaden the horizon to the awareness. Now, that is a connection to here. Now, you may have seen some of this about third eyes, and you may have seen some of this about activation, and all of these things that you may have seen or may not have seen, for example. And that's important, because what's actually happening there is that we've got an awareness. We've got a half and half. We've got a touch of intelligence, but still we've got quite a bit of us, or what we call imagination. Now, what helps this? The intention. So, intention is helping the mind move from the awareness right into the spirit world. Now, I've done videos on awareness, and I'm going to put that at the end of this one. And so it helps you sort of understand a little bit more about what we're trying to accomplish. And so basically, what happens is the intention pushes the mind over to the spirit world. Now, as many of you may or may not know, depending on whether you've been on how long you've been on this channel, I teach all mediums to work from the left. And I've done that for many years now with amazing results, I have to be honest. All of my students who don't work anywhere in the psychic parameter or the imagination or in the awareness for that matter, they all work for spirit, in spirit, evidentially. And so for me, working on the left has had amazing results and has allowed my students to continuously evolve and grow their mediumship through the counsel of spirit and also through the guidance of the spirit world. And so it's always important to remember that if you're working on the right, you need to go away and check that out, because a lot of that's either psychic energy or it's a lot of your imagination. And so this may be, in a couple of examples I can give you for this, it may be that you do a couple of pieces of evidence, and then it all goes no, 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 or it seems to go blank, or as if there's nothing there. That to me is where you've been working in the awareness, with the psychic energy or the imagination. You push the mind to the awareness, you've touched very, very slightly the spirit world, and you've dropped straight back down. Now, when we're doing any kind of understanding of energy, we have to learn to keep the mind with the spirit world, because that drop from there to there is quite big. So what I mean by this is you can go from here straight over to there, touch the spirit world, and drop straight back. That's a big old gap, that, I've got to be honest. What we're always wanting to do is we should be pushing the mind to the awareness, then pushing to the spirit world, then keeping it with the spirit world. If at times you get a little fearful, it should sort of bounce back here, but then with the intention or with us reconnecting to the communicator or guide, it should push back there and stay there for the full duration of any communication you do, any demonstration, private setting, whatever it may be. We don't want them flip-flopping, what I call flip-flopping, backwards and forwards, back here, back there, in the middle. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go to spirit and stay to spirit. Why is it important? Because you want your work to be evidential. You want to build the relationship with the spirit world. You want to be able to get the best from your work for not only you, but also for the spirit world as well. Awareness is basically a set of mechanics that we are using through the thought-based matter to get you from here to there. And there's basically an understanding of what's yours versus what's an intelligent connection. And it's important for all mediums, beginners, intermediates, advanced, to have a good understanding of what they're doing here. Because the more you understand what you're doing here, the more you can build on top of this. One thing I see, which I understand and I get, is I'll see some mediums do communications instantaneously. That's great because it tells me that there's a connection there, there's a link to the spirit world, but it doesn't build the mechanics or the stability underneath it. And what we always want with anybody who's doing good mediumship, to have a basis. So basically, it's like building a house. When I refer to building, anything for spirit, or when we're doing anything for spirit, you wouldn't build a house with no foundations, and the spirit world's exactly the same. You wouldn't build your spirit communications with no foundation, because ultimately what's happening is that there's no real understanding of how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and when you're maybe working for psychic and when you're working in the mediumistic parameter. So these are some of the real basics that you need as individuals. So for me, awareness basically means an opportunity to learn the difference through thought, through feeling, through pictures, through smells, tastes, whatever way in which that you're connecting, and so that you can build a better relationship and also know when you've left the spirit world. So if you are doing communications and you've left the spirit world, or you've dropped your link, that's another word you'll hear, drop your link, you will know and know to move the mind back to the communicator to keep working for spirit. This is probably one of the ones that isn't talked about that much, or the word is used, but there's no real understanding or debunking of what that word really means. If for me, it's one of the words that could really probably be taken out and replaced with something else, because it sometimes throws people massively, using the jargon and the words that people don't really understand. They're like, well, what you mean, mate, by that? What you're talking about there? What's that doing? Or what's that mean? So for me, awareness is an ability to understand your energy versus somebody else's, to understand the difference between your connection and the spirit world's connection in multifaceted ways. That is for all bases of building a relationship with yourself or for spirit. So I hope this answers my students' questions, but also maybe some of the viewers out there as well who's looking for more information in the use of this word, and also to help you understand the difference between imagination and psychic, a mixture of flip-flopping between this world and the next world, and the full spirit world that we're all dedicatedly should be working for and doing when we're doing readings, communications, or anything else for that matter. So I've been Danielle. Thank you very much for coming along and joining me. I do appreciate it. Do let me know if there's any questions you want me to cover. I'll certainly cover them for you if I can, if I've got time. But I always endeavour to try and do what is necessary for you, so the viewers. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great weekend. Lots and lots of love from me, myself, and the spirit world. Big kisses. Bye for now.